When you book a vacation, you're usually like chasing this very specific illusion of total control, right?
Absolutely. It's the whole point of a resort.
Yeah, it's honestly like setting a thermostat in your own house. You book a trip, and you just expect the ambient temperature to be this breezy 72 degrees.
Right. You want the pool water to be crystal clear, and you expect the whole experience to just hum along flawlessly.
Exactly. Without you having to lift a finger, it's a completely manufactured reality.
It really is. I mean, people travel because they want the exotic wildness of a destination, but they want it entirely tamed, packaged for their convenience.
But the moment you step off that heavily manicured, hyper-controlled Las Vegas Strip and actually venture into the surrounding desert,
No, boy.
yeah, specifically the areas in and around Henderson, Nevada, that illusion of control gets put to the absolute ultimate test.
It really does.
So welcome to today's deep dive. We have an incredible mission for you today. We are unpacking a stack of sources that explore the rugged, deeply unpredictable side of the Las Vegas area.
Yeah, and we're looking at two very different sets of source material to get to the bottom of this.
Mm-hmm.
We have this highly detailed itinerary for a VIP Hoover Dam and off-road adventure from ExcursionPass. That's a premium guided tour that runs about $409 for an adult.
Not cheap.
No, not at all. And to contrast that, we have a massive trove of TripAdvisor reviews covering the 30 best things to do in Henderson.
Which gives us a really fascinating look at the unvarnished, do-it-yourself local attractions.
Exactly.
So we are exploring the extreme contrasts of desert tourism here. We're going to look at what happens when a highly curated luxury VIP experience manages the desert perfectly.
And what happens when local attractions go miserably wrong.
Oh, terribly wrong. We are talking stolen luxury sneakers. We're talking golf courses basically devolving into literal mosquito hatcheries.
It's wild.
And we are going to uncover why the desert always wins if you aren't paying attention.
Yeah, it's a fascinating look at the underlying mechanics of an oasis, really, and the immense costs of just maintaining one.
So let's get into this ExcursionPass VIP experience. Because this itinerary completely redefines how a tourist interacts with the Hoover Dam.
It really does. I mean, for most people, visiting the dam just means driving over it. Right.
Yeah. You take a selfie from the pedestrian walkway, maybe buy a magnet in the gift shop, and then you leave.
Right. But this 6-hour tour offers what the source is actually called privileged access.
All right.
You aren't just looking at the dam. You are literally going inside its structural veins.
Yeah. The itinerary takes you down the original elevator to the very bottom of the dam.
Which is incredible on its own.
It is, and it lets you walk through the historic inspection tunnels right at the center of the structure. You even get to view the Colorado River from deep within this ventilation shaft.
It's basically like getting a backstage pass at a stadium.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not sitting up in the bleachers eating a hot dog. You're down on the locker room, feeling the concrete and hearing the hum of the generators.
And I have to stop you here and just push back on this a little bit.
Yeah.
If you are sitting there staring at that $409 price tag on your screen, it is really hard not to wonder if it's justified.
Fair point.
I mean, I could rent a standard SUV at the airport for like $80 a day and just drive out to the dam myself. Why am I paying a $300 premium just to look down a ventilation shaft?
Well, that is definitely the most logical objection. But to understand the price tag, you have to look at the mechanics of what you're actually seeing.
Okay.
And the logistics of what the tour provides. So first, those inspection tunnels you mentioned, they aren't just empty hallways.
What are they?
Well, when they built the Hoover Dam, the sheer mass of the concrete was so huge that if they had poured it in one continuous block,
Right.
the chemical curing process would have generated so much heat, it would have taken 125 years to cool down.
Wait, seriously? It would have stayed hot for a century.
Over a century. And it would have fractured and crumbled as it unevenly cooled.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, so they had to build it in these interlocking blocks. And they ran over nearly 600 miles of steel pipes through the concrete.
600 miles?
Yes, just pumping ice water through them to artificially cool the structure.
That is insane.
So those inspection tunnels exist so engineers can constantly monitor the moisture, the pressure, and the structural integrity of this massive artificially cooled monolith.
Okay, wow.
When you take this tour, you are literally walking through the cooling system of one of the greatest engineering feats in human history.
I mean, okay, understanding the physics behind the tunnels definitely adds some weight to the experience.
Right, but the real value proposition of that $400 ticket isn't actually just the dam itself.
Okay, and what is it?
It's the seamless transition from historic man-made engineering directly into the rugged, untamed wilderness.
Right, because once the VIP Hoover Dam tour ends, they basically hand you off to this fully immersive off-roading journey heading to Colville Wash.
Exactly. And a wash, for those who haven't spent much time in the desert, is basically a dried-up riverbed
Yeah.
that channels flash floods.
It's incredibly unpredictable terrain. You're dealing with deep sand, sudden drop-offs, mud.
Yeah, it's not a paved road.
No. But the sources point out this wild juxtaposition here. You are taking on this incredibly harsh terrain, but you're doing it in fully enclosed, climate-controlled Ford Broncos.
It's luxury off-roading. You're sitting on plush leather seats, you've got Apple and Android CarPlay running on the deck, and you're surrounded by this baking, stark landscape.
But again, to play devil's advocate, I could just take my $80 rental SUV into the wash, right?
I mean, you could.
Yeah.
And you would likely get hopelessly stuck within the first mile.
Fair enough.
The sources detail the specific recovery gear on these Broncos for a very good reason. They were equipped with heavy-duty winches.
Right, which you definitely don't get at the rental tower.
No, you do not.
Yeah.
Because if a 4,000-pound vehicle sinks into deep, loose sand, the suction is just immense,
That's like quicksand.
basically. A winch uses a motorized spool and this high-tension steel cable anchored to a fixed point to mechanically multiply force and drag the vehicle out.
Wow.
Your standard rental car does not have that,
Nor does it have the CB-style radios the sources mentioned.
which are critical. Because once you descend into the high rock walls of Colville Wash, you completely lose all line-of-sight communication with cell phone towers.
So your smartphone just becomes a really expensive brick.
Exactly. These tours use short-range radio frequencies. They'd actually bounce around the canyon walls. So it allows you to maintain constant communication with the expert guide leading the convoy.
Ah, so you're really paying for a massive safety net.
You're paying for peace of mind in a hostile environment.
The sources also note this fascinating operational contingency that I thought was interesting.
Oh, about the Bureau of Reclamation.
Yeah, because the Hoover Dam is federal property, right? It's
Yeah.
managed by the Bureau of Reclamation, the agency that oversees water and power in the West. And if that bureau suddenly restricts access to the generator room for, say, security or operational reasons, the tour automatically pivots to include stops at the Mike O'Callaghan and Pat Tillman Memorial Bridge.
And that right there is the essence of the $400 premium. They control the unpredictable variables.
Yeah, you aren't standing in a parking lot scrolling on your phone trying to figure out how to salvage your afternoon.
Exactly. The tour operator completely absorbs the friction for you.
But, you know, that $400 bubble of climate-controlled safety is actually pretty fragile.
Very.
The moment you decide to save that money and tackle Henderson's local attractions on your own, you realize just how quickly the desert takes back control.
Oh, it is merciless. When you don't have a guide smoothing out those edges, you are completely at the mercy of the elements and, local management.
And based on this massive trove of TripAdvisor reviews we've got here, the Wild West of do-it-yourself local attractions is utterly unforgiving.
It really is. When the illusion of the desert oasis breaks down, the environmental reality just rushes in aggressively.
Let's look at a specific disaster. There's this review from the Cowabunga Bay Water Park, which, the sources actually note, is temporarily closed right now.
Shocker.
Yeah, and this one reviewer describes what is essentially a premium experience turning into an outright survival scenario.
It's so bad.
They paid $100 just for entry, right? Plus $250 for a VIP cabana.
So they are $350 in before even getting wet.
Exactly. So they are expecting a fairly high level of service.
Sure, you'd think so.
But they get the exact opposite. They're forced to navigate halfway around the park on their own while these young employees are just standing around glued to TikTok and Instagram.
Typical.
Then they arrive at the cabana only to find deflated inner tubes. But the real nightmare happens over at the wave pool.
Oh, no.
Yeah. The reviewers' kids leave their shoes by the pool. Specifically, there were $200 Yeezy slides.
Okay, well, that is a very costly mistake to make at a public pool.
It is. And someone obviously steals the Yeezys, but they do a swap.
A swap.
Yeah, the thief leaves behind this pair of extremely old, worn-out shoes in their place. And here is where the reality of the desert really kicks in.
Right. Because of the heat.
Because they are in the scorching Nevada sun, the kids are forced to actually put on the thief's nasty, degraded shoes just to cross the park back to the exit.
We really have to think about the thermodynamics of that moment.
Okay, break that down for me.
Well, standard dark asphalt, or concrete in the middle of a Nevada summer can absorb and retain so much solar radiation that the surface temperature easily exceeds 140 degrees.
140
Yeah.
degrees.
At that temperature, human skin suffers second-degree burns in a matter of seconds.
Oh my God.
So those kids had to wear the stolen shoes because the ground was literally a frying pan. They had no choice.
That is just brutal. And when the reviewer reported the theft to the staff, they were basically told the shoes were probably taken on accident and to just go check the lost and found.
Wow. Zero accountability.
Zero. And this lack of management extends way beyond the water parks. The local golf courses catch some incredible heat in these reviews, too.
Which isn't surprising. Golf courses are notoriously difficult to maintain in arid climates.
Totally. Look at the Legacy Golf Club. A reviewer mentions showing up for an early tee time when there was active lightning in the area.
Active lightning. Okay.
Yeah. So they ask the pro shop how long the weather delay is going to be, and the pro shop just responds, "There is no delay. You go out at your own risk. If you wait, we can't guarantee your prepaid tee time."
That is a complete abdication of safety protocols just to protect revenue.
Right.
Go play through high-voltage atmospheric discharges or lose your money. That's crazy.
And if you somehow manage to avoid getting struck by lightning, you might just get stalked.
Wait, stalked?
Yeah. Another reviewer at that exact same course said a ranger followed them closely for 2 entire holes, simply because the GPS computer on their golf cart indicated they were 5 minutes behind the expected pace of play.
The irony there is just striking. I mean, the management is hyper-vigilant about a 5-minute delay on the course, but completely indifferent to deadly weather conditions.
It really tells you everything you need to know. But honestly, the most vivid example of the desert just reclaiming an attraction comes from the Wild Horse Golf Club.
Oh, this one is gross.
It really is. A reviewer outright dubs the course a mosquito hatchery.
Yips.
They describe water hazards that used to be clear, right? But now they're just sitting as this dark brown, stagnant water filled with scum.
Oh.
It was so thick, the reviewer actually saw a golf ball sitting perfectly on top of the pond scum without even sinking.
You know, that detail is incredibly telling from an ecological perspective.
How so?
Well, for a standard 1.6-ounce golf ball to just float on top of algae, you are not just looking at a little surface film.
No.
No. When shallow water stagnates in extreme heat without proper circulation or aeration pumps, algae blooms rapidly. And it forms this dense structural biological map,
So it's basically solid.
basically. And that thick algae depletes all the oxygen in the water, which kills off any small fish or natural predators in the pond.
Leaving a perfect predator-free breeding ground for mosquitoes.
Precisely. The reviewer was being attacked and bitten on their lower legs the entire time because the golf course had inadvertently engineered the perfect insect incubator.
That is a nightmare.
It is, because a golf course in Nevada is a completely unnatural entity. It exists purely through sheer human will and massive amounts of energy and water.
Right.
So the second those circulation pumps fail or the customer service protocols break down, the entire illusion shatters.
The environment is actively hostile unless it is being heavily managed.
Exactly.
And this connects directly back to why travelers opt for that $400 VIP tour.
Yep.
You are paying professionals to maintain the armor against the desert until you are ready to engage with it.
But, you know, it is crucial to note that you don't necessarily have to pay $400 to have a successful experience in Henderson.
That's true. The sources do reveal that if you understand the environment, there are some incredibly highly rated local hidden gems that deliver amazing value.
Right. It's not all stolen shoes and pond scum.
Yeah. Thankfully. We just talked about the nightmare of a golf course failing to manage its water, but if you want to see water in the desert managed beautifully, the sources point to the Henderson Bird Viewing Preserve.
Yes. This facility is set up exceptionally well. It features 9 distinct ponds that you can walk around.
And significantly, there is no mention of algae mats supporting golf balls.
None at all.
Reviewers actually note it takes about 2.5 hours to fully explore it, and you do it via these flat, well-maintained paths, a boardwalk, and they even have a dedicated observation deck.
And the reason this preserve succeeds where the golf course fails is ecological intent.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. These ponds are part of a water reclamation facility, so they're actively managed to support migrating waterfowl.
Which means maintaining a balanced ecosystem.
Exactly. Proper water movement, natural predation.
Yeah.
It works with the desert environment rather than trying to paste a manicured green lawn over it.
That's a great point. And if you want a slightly more rugged natural experience, without needing a heavy-duty winch, The sources highlight the Sloan Canyon National Conservation Area.
Oh, this one is great. The main draw here is a 5.5-mile petroglyph trail.
Yeah, the ancient history carved into those rocks is stunning. But the reviewers do offer some very practical boots-on-the-ground advice for navigating it.
Right, because they note the topography can be quite challenging.
It can be. There is a section of the trail that actually requires active rock scrambling.
Which isn't for everyone.
No, definitely not.
Uh,
But if you aren't up for pulling yourself over massive boulders, reviewers suggest taking a bypass called the Cowboy Trail to access the petroglyph area much more easily.
the reviewers also issue a really vital warning here, though, that reinforces our whole discussion about the harshness of the environment.
Yes, the sun.
The hike is completely exposed to the sun. There is zero shade in this part of the Mojave.
None.
So the collective wisdom is to go early in the morning and carry significantly more water than you think you'll need.
Always good advice in the desert. Beyond the natural preserves, though, the sources uncover some highly specific niche standouts, too.
Like the Lion Habitat Ranch.
Yes!
Yeah.
Animal lovers flock to this place. One reviewer specifically shouted out their behind-the-scenes experience, noting that admission starts at just $26.
Which is a huge value contrast to the typical Las Vegas strip pricing model.
Seriously?
You also have Lake Las Vegas, which is this privately owned 320-acre scenic lake featuring 10 miles of shoreline.
Wow.
Yeah, it completely shifts your paradigm of what a Nevada landscape could accommodate when the hydrology is scaled up and managed at a resort level.
But I have to say, my absolute favorite hidden gem from these sources, and honestly, this is just the perfect palate cleanser after the water park and the golf course disasters.
I'll know which one you're going to say.
It is a masterclass in hospitality at the Emerald Island Casino in downtown Henderson.
Yes, this review is so refreshing.
It really was. A reviewer went to the Emerald Island Grill with some out-of-town guests, just hoping for a decent meal.
And they encountered a server named Chrissy.
Chrissy, she completely elevates the entire experience. She has a great sense of humor. She is incredibly helpful with the menu. And then the ultimate test of hospitality occurs.
The spill.
The spill. A full glass of soda gets knocked over, creating a massive sticky mess across the table.
Now, in the Cowabunga Bay scenario, you might have had employees ignoring the spill or, filming it for social media.
Exactly. But Chrissy swoops in immediately. She cleans the spill perfectly, replaces the drink, and does it all with a smile that just completely diffuses the tension of the accident.
That is true service.
It is. The reviewers were so impressed, they actually stated they would return just to sit in her section.
In a desert environment where the physical elements are constantly trying to ruin your day, high-quality human empathy is really the ultimate oasis.
I love that. And when you synthesize all these sources, the premium off-road tours, the chaotic water parks, and the local preserves, it provides a very clear blueprint for anyone planning a trip to the area.
It does. The optimal itinerary really requires a strategic hybrid approach.
You don't just do one or the other.
No, you leverage the reliable, high-end VIP guided experiences for the extreme activities.
Right.
When you want to explore the inner cooling tunnels of a historic dam, or you want to drive through the deep sand of Colville Wash, you pay the premium.
Yeah. You buy the climate-controlled Bronco and the expert guide with the CB radio because the cost of failure in those environments is just too high.
Exactly. But you balance that heavy investment by utilizing the well-reviewed local spots for authentic, lower-stakes charm.
Right, like spending a quiet, cheap morning at the bird viewing preserve. Or
Yeah.
taking the Cowboy Trail at Sloan Canyon.
And seeking out servers like Chrissy at the Emerald Island Grill.
It is really about recognizing when you need to purchase the illusion of control and when you can safely step outside of it and rely on the local community.
Wonderfully said.
Well, we have unpacked an incredible spectrum of experiences today. We've journeyed from the plush leather seats of heavily armored Broncos and the structural depths of the Hoover Dam, all the way to the chaotic perils of neglected public water parks and cutthroat golf courses.
We really ran the gamut.
We did. We've seen exactly how the desert will punish you if you let your guard down, but also how it rewards you with ancient petroglyphs and hidden bird sanctuaries if you treat the climate with respect.
It is a landscape defined entirely by its extremes.
It is.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought, to ponder something that builds on all the data we've reviewed today, but kind of shifts the perspective on what makes a trip valuable.
Oh, let's hear it.
Well, we have spent a lot of time analyzing the value of that $400 curated bubble and how it successfully protects you from the unpredictable elements of the Mojave.
Right.
But Think about the psychology of memory and the stories you actually tell when you get home.
Okay, I'm with you.
In an era where every single vacation moment can be meticulously curated, pre-booked, and climate-controlled, does true adventure actually require a breakdown in the system?
Oh, that's interesting.
Like 10 years from now, are you going to be more animated at a dinner party recounting a perfectly seamless air-conditioned car ride? Or are you going to laugh until you cry, telling the story of navigating a golf course mosquito hatchery and surviving a 140-degree sidewalk in a stranger's worn-out shoes?
Wow. When you frame it like that, the miserable moments really do generate the best narratives, don't they?
They do. The friction is what makes the memory stick.
That is so true. The curated moments give you peace and comfort in the present, but those unscripted, chaotic moments give you a story for the future. That is definitely something to chew on next time you are deciding whether to book the VIP tour or brave the local water park. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the sources. We hope you keep exploring, keep laughing at the chaos when things go wrong, and always keep questioning the mechanics of the world around you. We will catch you on the next one.